All right, y'all, welcome back to the channel. If you're a first-time viewer, check out some of my other videos and click on that subscribe button. Let yourself be notified whenever I have some good stuff coming along. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you for coming back. The Taurus Judge. Man, let me tell y'all what. I don't know the title of this video yet. I'm gonna try to think of something clever, like maybe Judging the Judge, but I know that one's probably been done, or the Taurus Judge, is it worthy, blah, blah, blah. I spent a lot of time back on the gun forums online, back in the late 90s, early 2000s, mid 2000s, you know, like the Firing Line is one that comes to mind. The High Road is another one that comes to mind. That concealed carry one, I can't remember the name of it. Then you got TaurusNet, you know, the Taurus-based firearms forums online. But those of you who are younger probably don't know a lot about the internet forums, but that's what we used to use in the early days of the internet. When you wanted to discuss something, you would go to these forums and people would do these posts and whatnot and everything on them. This one is empty, by the way. But the reason I mention that is because if you want to start a fight with someone, tell them that you really like the Judge. Say, hey man, I really like the Judge. It's great for home defense and everything else. And then of course you talk about sometimes people will get emotional and carried away about this revolver, these types of revolvers that shoot 410 shot shell 45. But then I go on my next topic of the video. What is the Judge? Well, the Judge is a revolver that came out by Taurus, and I'm wanting to say late 90s, early 2000s. I kind of did a little bit of research before this video. I couldn't see the exact release date, but I know it got the name Taurus Judge, according to Wikipedia, in 2006. And that's when some guy, let me think here, Bob Morrison was an executive VP for Taurus back then, apparently. And that's when he learned that judges in high crime areas of Miami were purchasing these revolvers, the 410, 45 Colt chambered Taurus revolvers, for defense in their courtrooms. And so, you know, how much of that is true, I don't know, but it's what the online, all the online references say, that the name came from Judge carrying these. Well, not carrying these, but having them at their bench in the courtroom. And we've all seen the videos of people going ballistic in courtrooms and stuff like that, you know. So, you know, I don't blame them. I don't blame the judges for doing that. But, you know, the big thing about these revolvers is that a lot of people will go out and buy these. Now, probably most of my viewers probably know the true story about this thing, but a lot of people will go out and buy this revolver, and they're like, man, I got a shotgun in my hand, because it does shoot, there it's labeled right there, 45 long Colt cartridges and 410 gauge shotgun shells. And people think you can go out and get you some birdshot 410 or something like that and have this great self-defense weapon. Well, you know, those who know and have actually taken the time to look at ballistics out of these things and stuff like that will tell you otherwise. You know, obviously the shot shell is not good for self-defense for these things, but we'll get into that a little bit later. But, and I'm digressing all over the place. Sorry about this. But yeah, that's where this revolver got its name. So what we have, it is a revolver, and it can shoot both 45 Colt cartridges, which is this one right here. This is kind of a lighter weight bullet. I think this one's about 180 grain, maybe, hollow point. And it can shoot 410 shell cartridges like these. So you've got 5 rounds, so you can load it up however you want to. Now, when we get to talking about the ammo, I'll explain to you how I load it. But besides that factor, it's pretty much just a standard double action revolver. A single action, double action is what they call them nowadays. Now, back in the day, any revolver that you could just pull the trigger, and again, we're empty, but any revolver you could just pull the trigger and fire, or a cock and then fire like this, so they call double action. Nowadays, they call them double action, single action revolvers. That way, it designates that they can be fired either way. And it does have a rifle barrel. I don't know if we can... Yeah, you can see some of the rifling down in there inside that barrel. It does have a rifle barrel, so it's not like a true shotgun barrel by any things. What was this gun designed for? You know, really, I don't know. I can tell you what it is good for. You know, I've got a couple of friends that use these on their property, and they will load them up with birdshot, and they use it for snakes. You know, when you're out bush hogging or something like that, and have one of these on your tractor. It's happened to me before when I used to bush hog when I was a kid. I was coming up right next to a tree and looked over, and sure enough, there's a big old snake sitting in the tree looking at me, almost shoulder level, scared the poop out of me, to put it simple. But the versatility of them is kind of cool. Now, here's what let's kind of jump over to my opinion for the ideal type of ammunition to use for these things for self-defense, because that's what a lot of these are sold for, in my opinion, for self-defense purposes. This is my wife's gun. This is my wife's bedside gun, actually. I trust it for her for self-defense purposes inside of her house, you know, in the relatively short range of a find in the house. But to me, these are the only two options you have for self-defense on these things. We'll talk about this one first. Yeah, this is a 410 shot shell, but this particular one is a triple-aught buck shell, and it's the Federal. This particular round is designed by Federal for these short barrel revolvers. So it has, I guess it has maybe a little bit quicker burning powder to where you get maximum velocity. I think this has 4, I believe, triple-aught size round balls in it. This one is a 2.5-inch size, but they also make a 3-inch one, which this will chamber. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to find any of the 3-inch ones in a while, unless I pay some ridiculous prices on Gunbroker. I'm going to wait till things get back in swing again, and then pick up some 3-inch ones to keep loaded in this. I keep this by her bed loaded with 5 rounds of these right now. If you doubt the efficiency of these at self-defense distances, I encourage you to look at some of the ballistic videos here on YouTube. I think it was Shooting the Bull 410, maybe? 410 shooting. Google, look in the search syntax for YouTube, Shooting the Bull Judge ballistics or something like that. You'll find it. These particular ones, these Federal shot shells in the triple-aught buck, they perform very well at self-defense distances, and far, you know, when you're going into ballistic gelatin, things like that. All the other stuff, in my opinion, is just, you know, mediocre at best. You know, they've got, and I have some, I didn't think to bring it out, but Winchester makes a PDX round is what they call it, where it has like 3 little flat discs, then it has some BBs. Everything I've seen on those prove that they're pretty much useless compared to this as far as penetration, stopping power. And then you have some that have like a slug in the front of it, and then it has two balls behind it, 2 triple-aught balls behind it. Again, I haven't seen very good ballistics on the stuff that I've seen anyway out of those. But if you're going to use this thing for home defense, in my opinion, self-defense distances, this is the round to get if you're wanting to use 410 shells. This one is the next one to talk about. This is a 45 long Colt. A lot of people scoff at this round nowadays because you have the, you know, the shorter high pressure stuff like the 45 ACP and 40 Smith & Wesson, things like that. Let me tell you, in my opinion, I say this in my opinion, does that make sense? In my guesstimate, there's probably been a lot of bad boys put away by a good old-fashioned 45 Colt back in the day. This round really doesn't need an introduction, but really, I need to take these hollow points out of here, and I actually have been meaning to order some semi-wad cutters or just some lead round nose. You can get these things up into like a 250 grain. Even the Cowboy Action loads, which are real soft shooting loads, have a 250 grain hard cast round in them. I know Underwood makes some of the wad cutters. I think it's a 225 grain in the 45 long Colt. That would be an excellent ammunition for this as well, I think. And again, I'm just talking for self-defense. I think you can get 45 Colts all the way up to 265, 270 grain ammunition, actually. So the reason I have hollow points in here is because it's the only long Colt round I had at the time. But I don't know, I have my suspicions if this would give this short barrel would give this sufficient room for expansion. Even though this is, if I remember right, this came with a little kit that had these and some shot shells designed for these guns. Maybe it does, maybe it would expand out of it, I don't know. But I'd much rather have a big old fat 250 grain bullet coming out of here. So, my judgment on this, I think it's worth it, to be honest with you. Here's some things I counter people with. Is, oh, you don't want one of those judges, they're pieces of crap. You know, what's the purpose of them? Well, you know, a lot of them say, if you want to shoot 45 Colt, go get you 45 Colt. Well, here's the thing, folks. When I bought this one for my wife, they were running about $3.99. Nowadays, I think they're probably about $5, $5.50, $6. I might not know my stuff, but I don't know where you can go get a double action, single action revolver that will shoot 45 Colt for that type of money. If y'all know of one, let me know in the comments. Put a link to it down there and let me know. And I'm talking like a decent quality one. You know, I'm not talking used ones or anything else. I know you can get some single action 45 Colts in like the $600 range maybe for like some of those, some of those brands, Cimarron and places like that make some of these cheaper single actions for cowboy action shooter. But I think, to me, this is the only option. If you want a revolver that shoots 45 Colt and you want it to be double action and you don't want to spend a grand, yeah, I think this might be one of the fewer options that you have out there. Add to that the ability to shoot some of these little gems if you like. Yeah, I think it's a pretty good for self-defense distances. I'm talking like 10 yards, you know, maybe 15 yards at the most, probably 10 yards or less, and, you know, 80% of the situation. I think it's hard to beat some of these looking at the ballistics out of them. Now, at that distance, they're not spraying apart and giving you these big patterns, but they'll give you a pie plate size pattern probably at 10 yards with this triple-aught buck. Now, those who don't know, a triple-aught, each one of these is about the size, somewhere between a 32 and a 380, I believe, as far as the grain count of each little ball. So it's not something inconsequential. Now, I'm not saying you're going to be able to just, you know, spray and pray and get that shot load out there all over the place, but that's why I keep these in here for the bedside gun, because that's going to be someone that's probably at the door of the bedroom that's going to be on the bad end of that round. A lot of people say, oh, they're too big to conceal carry. Well, you know what? They're not really designed for concealed carry, in my opinion. Taurus does make one. You might have seen my video on it, but this is it right here. This is the Public Defender. This is the smaller version of the Judge. As you can see, it just has a 2.5-inch cylinder versus the 3-inch cylinder. This one has got a shorter barrel, a little bit smaller frame. This particular one, I've got the longer grip on it, but it comes with a little bit shorter grip. Again, I think it's a very poor choice for concealed carry, but, you know, if you have needs for a smaller, more compact version, then yeah, you can go with the Public Defender. Let's take a look at that. Make sure we're clear for y'all. There it is. But I have a whole separate video on that Public Defender if y'all want to check it out. So let me ask y'all's opinion. Again, I'm well aware a lot of people over the years have hated on these judges, hated them. Oh, you know, there was a shooting. Everybody points to a shooting where a bad guy used one of these to shoot at a cop or something. You know, I can't find any reference to what type of ammo that guy was using. And I can tell you, if you want to use one of these defensively, it's all about the ammunition that you choose. Don't go for any of the gimmicky stuff, in my opinion. Get the little Federal, I mean, and again, this is just my opinion, but these little Federal triple-aught ones are the ones to get. And now, keep in mind, they make triple-aught buckshot for just standard 410 shotguns. I'm not talking about that. This is the Federal. It's designed for use in short barrel handguns. As a matter of fact, let me show you a picture of the box. Here we go. Federal Premium 410 handgun, 2.5-inch buckshot, 4 pellets, triple-aught buck. It's giving you a muzzle velocity of 850 beats per second. And yes, on this one, that is the velocity out of a short barrel. Now, if you go look at a standard box of 410s, it'll have a higher muzzle velocity because that's really designed for use out of rifle barrels. But this is my personal choice. But they also have, and I got out my Judge ammo box to show y'all some of this stuff. This is some of the more gimmicky stuff. This is the one I was talking about that has an FTX slug and 2 round balls behind it. I think I saw a video on this, and I'm wanting to say that this didn't perform very well. Maybe I'm wrong on that. I got this box in trade with a Circuit Judge, which is a rifle version of that one once upon a time. But let me see what else I might have in this goodies to show you the different types of ammo. This is the Again, I got this in trade. This is the one I have seen videos on, and honestly, it performed pretty crappy. This is the one, PDX Defender. It's got it's got 4 discs in it. Oh, this is the 3-inch version. Okay, that's why it has 4. 4 discs in it, and then like 16 copper-plated BBs. Yeah, this one, again, folks, I don't think this one got very great reviews. Probably fun to shoot at some stuff, though. And let me see here. This is probably what I'll be loading into this when I put this back up into the wifey spot. Well, actually, the wifey's, like I said, I keep hers loaded with 5 of these. The Public Defender is mine. I usually keep it loaded with 2 of these, and then I have 3 45 Colts following them up. But this is the one I'll probably put in them instead of the instead of those hollow points. This is a good old-fashioned cowboy action lead flat nose 250 grain. It's a big bullet, y'all. But tell me y'all's opinion. I mean, what's your judgment on the Judge? I'd be really interested to hear what some of my regular viewers have to think about them. Again, I think they have a purpose. It's a very small niche that these really fill, and to me, if it's loaded with proper ammo, I think these are probably a pretty decent choice for short range self-defensive purposes. Let me know your thoughts. If you have any questions, drop them down below. And you guys thought I was getting ready to let you go, but we forgot to do 2 important things. First off, oops, let's see what this monster weighs. Ooh, 37.8 ounces. It's a hefty one. The Public Defender, this is the steel version. They make it in the poly version, which is a little bit lighter, is 27.9. So it's big, it's hefty. And, you know, one person had said they'd like to see me start putting some measurements, some barrel measurements in. So let me grab a tape here. Okay, I couldn't find my tape, but we've got a good old-fashioned ruler right here. And from the forcing cone to the tip of the barrel, it is 3 inches, folks. So yeah, y'all let me know. Let me know your thoughts. Thanks for watching. Take care.